I have an Arctic Cat 300 4x4 four-wheel drive, and it's a year 2000 model. I've been having trouble with the carburetor. It's been rebuilt at least twice, and it's just getting to the point where I'm just looking for another solution. I looked across the internet and found this one place that offers a full kit to replace the carburetor. In that kit comes the carburetor, which is still a Mikuni. It comes with an adapter to change the angle of the throttle cable to fit the new Mikuni. The additional jets are part of the kit in case you're in a different environment where I'm close enough to sea level that I can use the ones that they already pre-jetted. Cable ends for the conversion to the new carburetor and hookup. And then I also bought this optional choke kit because it comes with a manual choke on it, but I want to go ahead and make it just like the original as far as the gear, well, the mechanisms are concerned, and go ahead and install the kit too for the choke. The instructions come with this kit, everything you need to know on step by step how to do it. A couple things you'll have to go and buy are the diameter of the intake for the air is a little bit different than the stock, just slightly, so it instructs you in the kit. You got to go to the auto parts store and get the right hoses for that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started on this conversion. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and install anything I can here in the on the table instead of being leaning over the ATV or outside where it is. So I'm going to start by removing this and going ahead and putting the new adapter on it, this 90-degree cable adapter. And the two wrenches you'll need for this are a 10mm and a 12mm. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that and show you what it looks like. Okay, once you unscrew the top, you'll see a large spring in there. Just everything's good there. Leave that spring. Be careful not to mess up the spring in any way, because that's a pretty significant mechanism in how this operates. And then this little piece here at the top, you just unscrew it like so, and then we'll screw in the new adapter, this one here, tighten it down, and then put all this back together for now, but later on I have to take it back off and show you how to hook the cable up, the new cable. Okay, I've got the new 90-degree cable in on, put the cap back on. Now we're going to go ahead and take the choke mechanism off. This is the manual choke mechanism, and the kit comes with the ability to adapt your current cable to this choke. So this is a 12mm wrench. You have to slide this little rubber gasket up a little bit so you can get your wrench in there. But just unscrew that, and this whole complete assembly comes out. And then here's your replacement that I'll have to do once I get out to the ATV to complete this install. Okay, here's the manual choke assembly here that's out of the unit, and just you will no longer need this anymore. All the components in this package will replace what we just removed. Now it's time to head on out to the ATV and start pulling the old carburetor off. Okay, here is my Arctic Cat 300 4x4. Did a lot of reading on these particular ATVs. I bought it used, and kind of just about got fed up with it, but as I read more and more forums, everybody is pretty much saying that they're fairly well built. They have Suzuki engines in them that last a long time, but the common issue that people see is with that old carburetor. But we're going to get that replaced and get started on it now. Okay, I didn't waste your time with taking off the seat, because if you don't know how to take off the seat, you shouldn't even be trying this anyway. But we're going to take the air box out here. Well, not really air box, kind of like a snorkel. We're going to pull it off, just 2 screws right here, and then it's got a little connector right here that will take off and get to the carburetor. Okay, we got the snorkel removed. You see the air box back in here. We're going to be pulling and loosening the screws here into the intake manifold from the carburetor. The air box here, we're going to be pulling these screws, and of course the fuel line. Now, we will be using the Dremel tool later. This is a carburetor, so there's definitely fuel in the area, so as a precaution, you should definitely have a fire extinguisher somewhere nearby. Just hope I never have to use it, but just in case, it's better to be safe than sorry and burn up my whole ATV, much less the fact that I'm close to my house too. Wouldn't want anything to happen there. But now I'm going to go ahead and pull the existing carburetor off. Okay, I've disconnected the carburetor. It's free here, but some of the things you need to make sure you record is where these hoses go, which side, and just like I said earlier, be careful when you disconnect this fuel. Make sure the fuel cutoff is shut, and then just go ahead and start disconnecting the all the cables. Okay, as I'm getting ready to pull the cables, notice that this is a choke cable mechanism here, and we need to get this unscrewed, and it's really hard to get a wrench in there, so I have a pair of very long needle-nose pliers. This is plastic, it's not very tight, so just reach down in there and unscrew this this bolt that will release the choke cable. Okay, choke cable's out, it's free. Now the next thing we're going to do is pull the throttle cable. In order to disconnect the throttle cable, here's the throttle cable, we've got to pull these 4 screws down here, and then it's kind of has a rounded end on it, and I'll show you how to do that once I get these bolts off and open this case up. Okay, I've got that case off. I did use the term bolts before, but they are screws. So now what we've got to do is reach in here and then just kind of turn this counterclockwise, and then the mechanism on the end of this cable is sitting just inside. I've already tried to move it, so that's why your cable should be on around there, but just kind of turn this clockwise with a kind of prying in here with a screwdriver, and then we can just slide the end of this cable out of this restraint right here. Okay, once I turned it, I was able to get the cable just pop right up. Here's the restraint I was talking about, and on the end you'll see there's kind of a barb, and you'll be instructed to actually remove that with the new carburetor, and all that is in the instructions that they provide with the kit. Now let's go ahead and finish pulling the cable out, disconnect the fuel line, get this carburetor off. Okay, here's the old carburetor, and one of the things they tell you in the kit that this is the only thing not included is the intake hose. The intake for this older carburetor is only about 2 inches. Here, let me see if I can turn this so you can see it. It's about 2 inches, but the intake for the new carburetor is 2 1/4. See if you can see that one. Again, I wasn't sure you could see this one right here. 2 inches. And then here 2 1/4. Sorry. 2 1/4. So you have to go to the auto parts store, and it tells you in the kit again that you need to get a radiator hose that they carry that's 2 1/4, and also get one that's 2, so that you can hook your air box back up. We'll run a radiator hose, new one, in the 2 1/4 into this, and then slip the smaller one inside the end so that it still hooks back into the air box. So I'm off to the auto parts store to get these parts. Okay, just got back from the auto parts store. In this case, I went to Advance Auto, national chain, and the gentleman Sean there was extremely helpful and was able to find this hose. Here's the part number for it, but it already has the right diameters I need. This is a 2 1/4 inch inside diameter opening, and then right in here is a 2-inch inside diameter. I already checked it against the air box, fits quite well. So what I'll be doing is placing my old hose on this so they get the right angles cut, and we can just use this hose instead of buying 2 like the instructions. Fortunate enough to find this one that automatically has a reduction in it. Okay, I followed the instructions and remove the old 90-degree elbow. Let me reach back here and grab that for you. This one here, basically took the shield out of it and pulled the cable through it, but you notice it's quite a bit shorter than the new one. What they tell you is once you get this cable in there, you should have 3.5 inches past that elbow, and I was quite a bit short even by taking the instructor 3/4 inch off of the shield. But then I checked and saw how much longer this particular piece is than the old one, so I trimmed it back even further, and so now I have pretty much 3.5 inches of cable coming out of this. So the next step is to put on the little end piece that let's see, it's just a cable end, and they include 2, one in case you lose it, and the other one obviously is a spare. But anyway, now we'll just go ahead and put those cable ends on, and I'm going to solder them on once I crimp them, just to kind of help keep them on for the long term. Okay, the next thing I did was go ahead and fix this choke cable. What I had to do is there was a plastic bolt on it from the old one, and it was real simple. Just use the Dremel tool, cut off the plastic bolt. There was a little metal cap on the end, and I also took it off, cleaned that up, and then this whole component from this piece, this is 2 pieces right here. This one screws into this one. As the instructions said, you have to drill out a little bit so that this little end piece on the cable will fit through the sleeve here. So not too hard to drill out. It's brass. It's quick. I went ahead and used a new spring. Now this is the old choke component that I had, but now I think of it, the new one is actually the right one to use. It does not have a pin here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the new one on, and I basically did this just for fit and this, make sure it looks the same as the old one. But I'm going to put the new choke component on here. Okay, I got the throttle cable inside the carburetor now. The instructions pretty simple. The new little crimp that you put on the end drops down into a small hole, and the piston, well, I call it piston, I'm sure there's another name for it, but anyway, had to do a little adjustments here on the cable, pull it out a little bit because I had a little play, and now when I pull the throttle up, as you see, the carburetor works fine. You can make adjustments right here by pulling the little cover off right here, and then screw and unscrew, and don't forget to put down your lock nut there, and then just cover it back up. And anyway, looks like the throttle is working fine for us. So next steps, I'm gonna hook up the choke, and then the air box hose, cut that, and then eventually connect the fuel line. Okay, we have everything hooked up now: the fuel line, the choke, and the throttle cable. I put 2 hose clamps on that hose that I got from Advance Auto, and it fit. Cut's not great, but there's enough overlap it shouldn't leak, so it'll do. So now we're down to the moment of truth. See if it will start. I believe we have a dead battery because it's been sitting around too long. Okay, I got the carburetor hooked up. Little battery problem, had to put a charge on it, and then once you got enough juice in the battery, it turned right over and ran pretty good. The instructions say to give it some time and let it warm up. Don't run it hot to start with. So I'll put everything back together, and I think we are done with this project.